Beware of nice advisors. I've talked with thousands of Canadians that will not have the life they want because their advisor gave them bad advice. Why do they stick with their advisor? I've heard it over and over again. He's a nice guy. So the advice here is you need a competent advisor and real advice, not a nice advisor. Competent advisor might also be a great person to work with, but it's the competent advice that you really need. So how do you know if you've fallen into the nice advisor trap? Okay, here are the signs. So you've been with the same advisor many years, but do not have a written financial plan. You do not know whether or when you can retire with the lifestyle that you want. Your advisor has not even helped you figure out in detail the retirement lifestyle that you want. So what is your life goal? You don't fully know. And you have moderate risk or conservative investments with some growth and some protection. That's kind of the standard line that you get from them. You do not know whether your returns are expected to be high enough to achieve your life goals. When you meet your advisor, always changes an investment based on what's happening in the economy. The meeting is focused on the investments, not on your life or your future. You like your advisor as a person. You feel it's hard to leave them, even though you have not received real advice. So that is the nice advisor trap. So do you stay with your advisor to avoid hurting their feelings? Or do you take control and get real advice? So nice is what many advisors are instead of giving real advice. So now what's wrong with staying with a nice advisor? So here's what's wrong. A few things. First of all, you have no real financial plan, so you don't know your life goals or how to get there. So you have not defined your goals in detail. You don't know if you will be okay. So, an advisor may say that you're okay, even though that you're far short. So we actually have a client that was at a bank, was turning 65 and withdrawing, it was taking money out of her investments and withdrawing so much that she would run out. What we had to look at, we would see she's going to run out in 6 years. So her banker advisor had told her she was fine. She was shocked to learn the truth. She went back to her bank advisor and he did the calculation and agreed that she was going to run out of money in 6 years. She asked, why did you say I was fine? It turns out the bank advisor said she was fine, but hadn't even done the calculation. She retired. He just asked her, how much money do you want to have every month? He just started sending it to her. That's it. No advice, didn't even look at whether or not it made sense. So that is the nice advisor curse. Now, and the other problem is your return is too low to achieve your life goals. So a nice advisor will usually recommend, investing in a medium risk portfolio, some growth and some protection. And the goal is to have your investments do okay, so you never lose a lot or never lag, when everybody will lag the index a lot. And basically, they want to make sure you stick with them. That's what it's about. However, essentially, nobody can retire comfortably with a balanced portfolio. We've created thousands of financial plans for Canadians, and they almost never work with a 5% return that you should expect from a balanced portfolio. And I have a lot of examples of videos or my other videos where I showed them a whole bunch of specific examples of this. Writing a financial plan just it rarely works with a balanced portfolio. And it's a huge investment. So, there's a huge issue, this whole having a nice advisor without proper advice. So your investment returns almost definitely mean you cannot have the future you want. You don't have a financial plan, so you don't even know for sure. And this means your choice is get a real advisor or give up on having the life that you want. That's just really what it comes down to. So many people getting no advice or bad advice, and they just stick with the advisor because it's a nice person. But, it's a real problem. So, the question is, why don't advisors give it real advice? And the reason is, so I've talked to a lot of them, why don't they give you a real financial plan? I've talked to a lot of advisors, and what they do is they can consider it to be unpaid service work. That's what they call it, unpaid service work. So they don't want to do, the work of a proper financial plan, because we've done thousands of them. It is a lot of work. It takes many hours. So, and, they make their money from the investments or from the insurance, and they're just waiting to get the sale. That's all they're trying to get to. They want to, have a brief discussion about planning so they could say they did something and then get into the investment sale, So I did a video a while ago about why don't most financial planners plan finances? It's kind of funny. So, and what do you call a financial planner that doesn't plan finances? The answer is a salesperson. So that's really what you got when you're a nice advisor. You've really got a salesperson. So, there are 100,000 people in Canada that call themselves a financial planner or a financial advisor. And I believe that less than 1% of them have prepared even one proper professional financial plan in their entire career, other than the one they had to do to get their CFP designations. So it's shocking how few of them have actually done a proper financial plan. So what is real advice? So instead of being nice, a real advisor helps you figure out the truth and is brutally honest with you, so you know where you're at. So now there's two levels of what we call the tough love caring from a real advisor. First one is sit down with you and create a real financial plan. So a financial plan is really a life plan. It's the GPS for your life. It'll really make a difference for you when you have it. So now what it needs to do is make the effort to explain it to you, because a lot of people think, well, do I really need a plan? It's going to take so much time. Am I really going to do anything different? Is it going to be a benefit? And this is what a real advisor would do, is sit down and explain to you why this is worth the time, why this is a benefit to you. So make the time to work with you to define your goals and figure out the optimal way to get there. And retirement plans, there's good news and there's bad news of financial planning. So the bad news is it takes a lot more money to retire comfortably than you probably think. So you probably 2 to 5 million is what most middle-class people are going to need to retire in the lifestyle that they want, 20 or 30 years from now, including the inflation to get there. So now the good news, it's easier to get than you may think when you have a financial plan. So, you can figure out how to be able to get there. Investments compounding, using effective strategies, you can get there. So that's level one. Number two is the head of the service that you need. So a real advisor will help you have high enough risk tolerance to achieve your goals. So this is actually a really important one. So because essentially nobody can retire comfortably with a 5% return of a balanced portfolio. You need an equity-focused portfolio, which will be more volatile. So you're going to have periods where it's down quite a bit, but it is worth it. It's the only way to have the life that you want. So now you need to understand this trade-off, that you have more ups and downs of your investments, but that's how you get more higher returns long-term and get the life that you want. So you need to understand that. So, and then you can make a real life choice for yourself. So understand what you really need to have the life that you want. So, advisors usually worry about compliance. It's surprising, they pretty well all of them worry more about their compliance rules than about you. And they worry about losing you as a client in a down market, but they must also worry about whether you are expected to have a high enough return to have the life that you want. So this is the part, that, it's kind of the lazy thing, is they just give you more conservative so that you stay with them and they don't have a problem with compliance. But now your returns are too low, but that's decades down the road, so as long as you stay with them until then, that's kind of their thinking. So now a real advisor is not an order taker. You should get his advice on everything. You can choose whether or not to take it, but you should always have your advisor's advice. That's the important thing about having a good advisor. So they listen to you, to what you want, then think about whether that is the best thing for you. So a real advisor should make the effort to explain it clearly, and help you avoid what we call the big mistake. So the big mistake is selling or switching to more conservative investments after a market decline. And most advisors do that. When the market is really down a lot, they kind of panic and switch over to cash, or they switch to something more conservative because stop the bleeding. And that is the one mistake. That's the one mistake that could just completely kill your future. And advisors got to be there to help you avoid it. And a lot of that is education ahead of time, so what kind of declines to expect from your investments, and what to do ahead of time when you get there, so you're not shocked with it. So now your advisor can help you by educating you about investments, so that you can both be within your risk tolerance and also have a high enough return to achieve your life goals. It's important to be able to do both. So, and then sometimes it just takes education to learn about investments and then try to figure out, okay, where do I fit in all that? So now it's your money in the end. You can insist on anything you want, even if it's dumb. However, a real advisor will take the time to explain why it's done, how it affects your life goals, and then help you make a real decision about it. If you still want to do something dumb, a real advisor will make sure you do it with your eyes open. So a nice advisor will take your order with a smile and just do it. Their concern is that you like them and stay their client, not whether or not you have the life that you want. So now, one of my mentors is a guy named Nick Murray, retired advisor. So he says that an advisor can pay for themselves only with behavioral counseling, because most investors invest based on your recent performers, whatever's done well recently, which means they buy high and sell low over and over again. And then they make the big mistake, selling after the market declines. So helping you stay invested after market declines and avoid these behavioral errors, that alone pays for the entire cost of an advisor over decades, because it's a huge cost when you make those kind of mistakes. So now everyone needs a financial plan, and you don't get it with a nice advisor. So a financial plan is having the life that you want. So having the life that you want does not happen on its own. So you need to plan for it and invest regularly. So there is something called your number, which is the amount that you need to be financially independent and provide the life that you want. And it's probably much more than you think, but you need to know what that number is. But with a plan, regular investing, effective strategies, and time, it's easier to get there than you may think. Now, your life is different when you have a financial plan. It's just really important to understand. You're confident in your finances, in your future. It's like the confidence from driving with a GPS versus driving all panicked about not being able to find your destination. That's the difference you get from a financial plan. So what's wrong with not having a financial plan? So it's kind of like saving for a house without defining the value or figuring out when. So, I see you meet someone that wants to save for a house, but I'm just going to save a bit of money that I have left over each month and just save it, and then I'm going to buy a house. Well, but that's not no kind of plan. You have to look at, okay, well, do you want a house or a condo or a townhouse? What part of town? What's it going to cost? In town or in a small town or in the country? So what's it going to cost? Then you think, well, I got to get a down payment. So how much do I have to save up for it? I have to qualify for the mortgage. So you got to plan for it. The only way you get a house is if you do some planning for it like that. So, and it's the same thing with your retirement and your other goals. So the financial plan is the GPS for your life. I've seen the actual life of most people with no financial plan. So basically what happens is they retire and they just adjust their life to whatever their income is. They just, whatever, they have a little bit of some money in a pension, they put a bit in RSP, and over the years, they retire and they just see this how much money they get and they just adjust their life to it. And these people tend to be home all the time. You can phone them, they answer the phone on first or second ring. And because they don't have the money to go out and enjoy life and do things that they want to do. So now possibly they may live okay, if they have some reasonable amount, they may live okay for a few years, and then money starts running out, and then they cut down the travel and the entertainment. Now, so a lot of people have this belief that people in their 80s or 70s or 80s start traveling a lot less. What we found is people that are over 80 with money and health travel as much as they did when they were younger. In fact, they have more luxury, they tend to do more luxury travel, less active travel. So, they might actually need more money for travel after they're 80. So, I think the main reason that a lot of people travel less in their 70s and 80s is because they didn't plan and they're out of money, and they can't afford it anymore. So that's that's kind of the big problem. If you have money and health, you probably want to travel, as long as you want to keep traveling as long as you can. Now, the top 4 reasons for not getting a financial plan. So obviously one of them, actually, other than these 4, one of the main ones is you have a nice advisor that didn't educate you on the benefits of it, and you just blathered along. So, but other reasons that we hear is a lot of people feel that they didn't get a financial plan because they're kind of embarrassed about the way they are. They feel they're in a bad position. They're scared that the plan is going to look bad. It's going to be demoralizing. So, and what if you've saved very little and your gut tells you you're far short? What should you do? Well, people often tell me, they have to fix their finances first, then they'll come and see us. And I ask them, do you get well before seeing a doctor? Like, that's what a financial advisor does for you. So your situation's bad. You may, have built up some debts, or you've got some investments, but it's not anywhere close to enough. or you just don't know what you're doing, that's exactly what you need an advisor for. And so you're in that position, make a plan. What you need is an interactive plan. Our software can very quickly work through many different options so you can figure out what you can do. And, you work through many possible life options, figure out the best, what you can accomplish. And, what you're trying to get is a reasonable retirement that's reasonably achievable and still allows, some life now. So if you're in a bad situation and, you can't, well, maybe you just can't have this great retirement, but at least now you can minimize it and, see how far you can get from where you are. Number two reason for not getting a financial plan is thinking they don't need one. This actually happens often with people that have lots of money. And I run into that. So people who just have a ton of money and they know they're never going to run out. So I don't need a financial plan, right? Because I know I can have enough money. But you know what? A financial plan is a life plan. So you still need one anyway. So a financial plan is, if you have more than you need, then what do you do with all the money? You got to think through what you want to do with this money. So you might want to have more fun, help your family, help a cause, let it grow, and let it grow when you can die with a huge portfolio. But think about what you want to do. So, and not doing something, if you just keep dragging on, you're kind of making a choice by doing it. But is that the choice that you would want if you understood it? Now, with a financial plan, you've got lots of money, then you know the exact lifestyle you can afford, and you can think about what you really want to do with your money. So when you know the exact lifestyle you can afford, you can enjoy life more without worry. So we often see wealthy people that have been frugal all their life and they're scared to spend more money because they're scared of running out of money. Always been frugal and somehow they can't let that go and they have money, but they don't spend it to accumulate. So now the life you can afford may be much more comfortable and fun than what you are living. And we've seen this hundreds of times. People with lots of money, they just keep their basic lifestyle. They're concerned that they might run out one day. We show them the road they're on leads to them dying with, tens of millions of dollars. Is that ideal for them? So I recently was interviewed for a National Post article about a woman that had a few million, but she was still living frugally. And she's going to end up with 50 million if she kept living so frugally and just let her investments compound, a few more decades. But that's not the ideal life. So once you have a financial plan, then you know exactly what lifestyle you can afford, and then you can think, okay, that's an amount I can spend. I don't have to worry about that spending that amount. So it's funny, when I was young, I used to think that life was a game. I really always liked games. And it's like he who dies with the highest net worth wins. And I realize now that's dumb. And it's actually unfulfilling for most people. You want to do something fun or meaningful with your money. So a financial plan helps you do that. Number three reason for not having a financial plan is, don't think about money. So a lot of people just don't ever think about money, and they just kind of muddle along. And that's exactly why you need a financial advisor. You need someone who will think about it for you. The number four reason is not wanting to pay for a financial plan, because a proper plan takes quite a bit of time and it's going to cost some money. So, a free financial plan is priced at what it's worth. No real advisor can do a proper financial plan in minutes. And, I've seen lots of those. They take, generalized assumptions that may or may not apply to you. And it's just not a real plan. And you're not going to accept it as your real plan because it's just generic, So now your life is different when you have a financial plan. You're confident in your future and your finances. You know exactly what you should do. And life just feels completely different. So, and it's helping you avoid the big mistake that most people make. That alone could pay for your advisor, just help you. Those behavioral mistakes, most people make them. That alone just pays for your advisor. For our clients, we try to pay for ourselves entirely by referring our clients to top elite independent portfolio managers with track records beating the indexes over time, over the long term, after all fees, including ours. So, if we can do that, then we haven't really cost you anything, and our advice is truly value added. I guess the way to look at it is you pay up front for a financial plan, but the way to think about it is 10, 15, 20 years from now, if I pay for a financial plan and then after that I make all my financial decisions, optimally, I'll make them all right going forward, am I going to be better off down the road, or just continuing the way that I am doing? And that's kind of the way to think about whether or not it's worth paying for a plan. So in summary, bottom line, everyone needs a financial plan. You need a competent advisor and real advice and a financial plan, and not a nice advisor. A nice advisor, the nice advisor curse is what can just kill your future. So if you have a nice advisor and aren't getting the real advice, then run. Get out of this nice advisor trap. We just passed Halloween. That's why I said beware of, nice advisors. It should have done a Halloween costume of a nice advisor, except I don't know exactly how that would look. But, they could just totally ruin your advice. So a real advisor will create a financial plan for you, help you figure out specifically the lifestyle that you want when you retire, show you clearly the best way to have the life you want, and have creative ideas that help you get there. Optimize how to invest every dollar with the highest long-term reliable returns and the least tax. So what you don't want is reasonable returns with less risk that don't achieve your goal. Real advisor will help you have the risk tolerance high enough to have the returns you need to achieve your life goals. They'll take the time to hold your hand and give you the tough love you need when you want to do something dumb, and basically work with you through your life to make sure that you have the life that you want. So that's the real advice that you need. Just having a nice advisor, then you're probably never going to get to the life that you want. All right, that's my talk for this week. Thanks for listening. My name is Ed Rempel. My blog is Unconventional Wisdom. It's the #1 blog in Canada for a financial planner. It's edrempel.com or unconventionalwisdom.ca. That's because it's in Canada. I also have a blog, podcast, and a YouTube. So the podcast is edrempel.com/listen. The YouTube is edrempel.com/watch. So you can read, listen, or watch. If you would like to potentially consider working with us and not sure, you can get a free 30-minute consultation at edrempel.com/talk. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.